Thank you. So here I'm trying to help you understand something about how this, though we know about hydroponics and aquaculture, and little about aquaponics too, but trying to understand how big it is and how this is happening and what are things that we can do and how well we can help ourselves regarding as a knowledge as well as an entrepreneur, where how can we go about it. Let's try to understand few things about it. So to initiate, so to understanding about the benefits of hydroponics, though we know many things about hydroponics, as this is important to understand because it gives a better yield of plants compared to traditional method of understanding or traditional method of culturing, and where it is within a small space you'll be able to produce a large amount of yield and with a very good nutritive value as well. And this gives you very good indoor as well as outdoor horticultural as well as agricultural products, and we are able to avoid pests like soil-borne pests and disease things. Everything has been by doing hydroponics. We are also able to avoid weeds which is suppose about to grow with traditional agricultural system. And here with this kind of production of plants, we are able to have a healthier nutritive plants within a very short time compared to traditional method of production. As well as here we have an automated system which can be used regarding production of plants, and that is where technology is going to also help us in having a healthier future. So trying to understand further about it, what is an aquaponics as such? As an aquaponics is about raising aquacultural animals, that is about fishes, prawn, crab, any of the aquacultural animals, along with hydroponic soilless plant culture within a closed loop where interrelated to one another, where each of both of this is going to help each other having a sustainable plant as well as animal growth. So it is crucial for sustainable aquaculture where you have a reduced environmental impact and also have a high potential food security, where our world is facing as such population explosion, as everyone knows. By doing this kind of integration of aquaculture and hydroponic of plant where soilless plant cultivation can be done, we are able to produce an exponential amount of food for having a good food security for the future. So this becomes one of the most important, and where here to understand the components of aquaponics, well, as I said, aquaponics is going to have a combination of aquaculture as well as hydroponics. Here we are also going to have something called biofilter, where this is going to help us in converting those wastages produced by animals, maybe fish, prawn, crab, whichever we are going to grow. Those waste is going to be converted into an readily absorbable nutrient for plant, like nitrates. So that becomes one of the most important for having a biofilter. And otherwise, the other components that we're going to have is about the fish tank or a plant tank, and then we have pipes and pumps that's going to help us in aerating the air. So these are the components that's going to be used. So as a system, to understand the design of aquaponics, we have three different types of aquaponics basically, though there are other additional things. These are basic three different systems, that is NFT, deep water DWC, and media based system, media bed system, where NFT is going to have a very nutrient film where it's going to be very light, thin nutrient liquid film which is going to be continuously running, where in deep water culture we're going to have a nutrient media on which we're going to have a floor of plants and roof of plants, and otherwise the other thing that we have is media bed, where we're going to use gravels and clay balls to supply the nutrients for the plant. And we also have a siphon only in case of this system of media bed system. And as a nutrient technique, film technique, this is going to have this following system, that is here it's going to be a very thin film of nutrient rich water which is going to be flowing through the plant root, where it is going to be continuously hydrate the root as well as provide nutrient, and ready to uptake nutrient is going to be provided. And plants here are typically rooted in media, wherein the others it is going to be rooted in clay balls or readily into the water system, When here it is going to be rooted into the media, and where it's going to be like, hydroponic perlite kind of structures. And this has a very compact structure design, though it has some of the drawbacks, as in it you require a precise water flow, because for which we need to give a continuous current supply, and so power outage can affect at times about this system of growth. So this is one of the most adopted system of technique. This is how it is going to work, where here what you see, there are air pumps, and water pump is going to take a water to the roof, and from there the thin film of water is flowing through the top tray, and that's going to flow back to the reservoir. So this is one simple example how this nutrient film technique is going to work. Wherein media bed technique, this is based on a layer where media bed where you're gonna use like gravels or clay balls to hold the plant roots, and with the waters flowing through the media, where this media, what I mean to say is the gravels. So I'll also show you the picture how it's going to be there, and plants which are going to be planted directly into the media bed, where the roots spreading within the gravels and pebbles, and relatively this is very simple to build system. And this is the only system where self-siphoning is going to be planted. But one specific disadvantage that I can quote about is space intensive and may require a frequent media replacement, because as the nutrient water is going to flow through the media, that is gravels or pebbles, there is a high chance that fungal growth may happen or moss may develop. So we need to have a frequent replacement or washing of this system for it to have hygienic control. And this is how it's going to happen, where the water is going to be pumped to the media, where if you can see between the tomato plants, there are gravel system where the water or nutrient solution is going to flow through. And because it is not much of exposed apart from the top layer, there is a chances of fungal growth. So there needs to be frequent washing of this gravels and replacing. So that apart from this one disadvantage, you can have a varied kinds of plants with little heavyweight plants can also be used, wherein the previous system or the next which I'm going to talk about deep system, you're going to use only the lightweight plants, wherein this you can use a very little heavyweight plants as well, and varied types of plants can be used. And deep water culture technique, this is one of the mostly adopted techniques, where the roots are suspended directly into nutrient-rich oxygenated water solution, where it allows easy absorption of nutrients as well as water directly by the plants from the water. And this provides an excellent nutrient as well as oxygen uptake for the plant that is growing. Here, advantage is where it's going to help us accelerate growth. As I said, most of them is going to help us, but this system is going to help because there is a very easy and direct absorption of water as well as, nutrient as well as oxygen. So this becomes very easy, and this is a very simple system to develop and easy to maintain, where you also have a very much reduced level of fertilizers to include, and water efficient and space efficient as well. As a drawback, if I have to talk about, because everything has a drawback as well, this has a drawback of nutrient balance to be maintained very frequently, and it has to be checked very frequently. The disease risk is also there. You need to have a maintenance every now and then. Electricity cost, where you also, because it's we're going to have a very high layer of water, we should also have a very frequent temperature check to be done. And here, limited plant selection, because as I said, you cannot have a heavyweight plants here, so there is a very limited plant selection that could be taken care in this. And we also have a little high initial cost for setting up the system. So that is about this, and here is how it goes on, because big tankers to be installed, so we need little high cost compared to other systems. Wherein, yes, this is about plants, but as I talked about, it is an aquaponics, so we're going to use as well as animals, so which is going to be fish, prawn, crab. So, but majorly what we use is about fishes. So the key fishes that we use in this culture system is about tilapia, trout, catfish, carp, perch, and barramundi. So these are the things that we use, wherein tilapia is one frequently used hardy and fast growing fish, which is suited for any kind of circulation, and this is most edible system as well. Otherwise, the trouts which is mostly used in deep water system, because this fish requires cooler water. So even if the temperature goes a little low, though this fishes can sustain about it. So that's where this is most used fish around cooler climate and indoor setups. And catfishes, this is one thing that can adapt to any wide range of temperature, making them very good choice for this various environmental water conditions. And they are also known as bottom dwellers, so they are very good to clean up the bottom conditions. And carps are relatively easy to care because they are adapted to various water conditions, as I say, as such of a catfish as well. And it is a very good choice if you are the first time into aquaponics and you are having a small setup of fishes. So then you're recommended to take about this carp as a fish choice for your aquaponic system. And perches has also thrives varied conditions, and barbamundi is known for fast growing. If you're looking out for quick money about the fishes, and is also adaptable for our kind of condition where it's a warmer conditions. And plants that you can choose for this, because you want to grow this, but according for you to have a quick income, lettuces, spinaches, kale, or Swiss chard. These are few things that can be adopted as a leafy greens that you wanna, or herbs like basils, mint, and all. And fruits, if you are trying to talk about tomatoes, bell peppers, or cucumbers. And if you are trying to have a rooted plants like potato and all, you got to be a little careful about it, because you're going to use a media bed system in this, wherein you cannot use deep water system. So you got to have a little support of gravels and clay balls. And other than this, you can also grow strawberries, radishes. Yes, but this is not the complete list of fishes that you can think about. We are also growing, say, papaya plants, your dwarf plants that can have a not a heavy weight, but having a moderate weighted plants can be grown, having a little different type of system that can be adopted for the same kind of aquaponics. And this is like a little comparison that you think about to which fish, which kind of plants that can be used for tilapia. You can use lettuces, basils, spinaches. This is not a food. This is like with this water conditions, with what kind of fishes that you can grow with such kind of plants. This is a correlation, because the amount of nitrates that can be produced by the fishes and how much that can be easily absorbed by this particular kind of plants. If you're trying to cross with different kinds of plants and different kinds of fishes, there is going to be a amount of nitrates residue present in the water, which may cause a disease or can impact on the fishes that you're going to grow in the reservoir. So that is where we are trying to give a little comparison that you can readily use, if at all, if you are trying to have an initial setup to know how it works. And as an example condition, how this traditional agriculture has impacted or has less production compared to hydroponics. Where you say lettuces, if you're talking about 1 acre of land, an average of say 9 to 10 tons of lettuces can be produced, wherein through hydroponics, you're able to produce up to 400 tons of lettuces with the same area. So if you can see how magnificent it is to have this simple system of hydroponics and have a high production. And this, you can think of it by thinking this, even if your cost that you're going to invest on setting up is going to be recovered maximum to the maximum one harvest time, or say it is like a second harvest, you will recover all the investment that you've done, but rest all, it's going to be a booming profit that we're going to think about. Even talking about bell peppers, tomato has increased up to 20 times of production can be increased. So there is a high increase in production through hydroponics, as well as this is not going to be hydroponics alone, because if you are going to include about large scale production with a big tankers of fishes, you're going to have also production of fish product. So that is going to help us. It is not just fish products as well. So to understand about the nutrient cycle, yes, the fishes is going to produce ready ammonia that is going to be toxic for animals, and it cannot be directly absorbed by the plants. So it has to have a nutrient cycle through which there are nitrifying bacteria that's going to convert this ammonia into nitrites and then nitrates, which is going to be readily absorbable by the plants. And which is utilized in the place of other NPKs. So nitrogen, which is going to be a big source of growth for this plant. So this production of ammonia by animals is going to be directly, we are channelizing that through the water system to get absorbed by the plants. So to maintain a healthy aquaponics system, it is important to monitor this nitrates and ammonia level frequently. And that is where frequent monitoring is important in the system. And this is again a cycle through which how it happens. If you see this from the fish tank, where you have put some feeds for the animals, and then the the production of whatever nitrates is going to waste or wastage that's going to come out as an ammonia or ammonium, that is going to be a few of them, though it can be volatilely taken care of, but still, as it is going to be indoor system, there is no much chance of getting that as an evaporation. So it has to be a nitrifying process has to be done, for which we have a separate system set up, and that conversion happens from ammonia to nitrites to get absorbed by the plants. But here, talking about all this, we have one key factor that is running around this, that is water. So water being one important factor, if you talk about conventional or our traditional method of agriculture and hydroponic system, in traditional system, whatever supply of water that we give to the plants, about 80 to 90% of water gets wasted. Wherein in the system, as the water is going to be recycled and reused continuously, about 80 to 90% of water is being absorbed by the plants. So here there is a high level of cost saving, environmental protection, you have water security, and also energy efficiency. Talking about cost saving, using less water reduces water and wastewater treatment cost, which by saving individual, because this is going to be seen, if you're seeing about a small setup at your home, you may not be able to visualize this. But if you talk about this same system as a large industrial scale, this is a very big amount that you're going to save it. And it is also going to reduce water usage by minimizing the strain on river and lakes and groundwater that you're going to leave. By using this, you're going to reduce all those and you're going to help a healthy ecosystem. And water security as such, if you talk about conservation practices, help to ensure long-term water availability for agriculture as well as other purposes. As such, we know we are undergoing water scarcity, but doing this, we're going to have a very good conservation aspect towards the conservation of water. And less water pumping and heating requires less energy, and reducing carbon emission is also going to happen, and energy cost is going to be reduced. So talking about this, we can, apart from using power, we have other sources of energies as well. So that is going to be useful when you are doing at a large scale production of and using of this aquaponics. When you talk about comparison between, as you said, conventional method of farming, where then there was often relying on what you talk about flood irrigation or about insufficient other water system, were leading to water usage being insufficient for the plants, either through runoff or through evaporation. Where water efficient farming, here we're going to employ like drip irrigation and precision irrigation, all this were then adopted. But then too, though we are able to do a reduction of water wastage by doing drip irrigation or precision irrigation on rainwater harvesting, all the system, we were able to reduce up to say 60 to 70% of water wastages. But still, doing this system, doing what about our type of hydroponic and aquaponic system, we are able to reduce the wastage by 90%. So that is what we're talking about. So water also being recycled, recirculated, and then this system of water usage is being done, where recirculation and reusage of water in this system, though it was adopted in irrigation industrial processes, then too, this system of doing is where we are going to supply water, and we are going to make sure the water is being directly being able to be absorbed by the plant, as well as the nutrient and oxygen being given directly to root. So the absorption rate by the plant is increased and wastage of water is being reduced. So this system is being able to help us. Just giving a comparison about how much this different types of irrigation could help or reduce the water wastages. Like drip irrigation could help us about 70% compared to regular flood irrigation, wherein precision irrigation could only help us about 30% of water wastages. Rainwater harvesting could help about 50%, and wastewater reuse and recirculation could help only about 20%, and that too particularly about municipal cities and higher cities. So types of symbiotic relationship that you can see between this plant and animal. If you talk about, both fishes and plants benefit by this relationship, as it is there is a mutualism between them, and fish provides nutrients to the plant, and what do plant provide them? Plant provides a clear environment for the fish. So there is a mutualism. Though there are few other systems of, say, talking about parasitism is present in few of the plants, and though it is not commonly used aquaponic system, majority of the aquaponic system show a mutualism, and that is the most common system of relation that we see between this kind of ecosystem. As well as I say, I can say as an ecosystem because it is going to be an interrelation between each other, and commensalism is also been seen in some aquaponics. There are kinds of relationship that we can see about mutualism, commensalism, as well as parasitism that has been seen. Fish production in aquaponics versus traditional aquaponics. If you talk about traditional aquaponics, it indicates about 20, the whatever fish production that you see in lakes and rivers and all this. Comparing to that, about 30 to 70 percentage, 30 to 70 percentage more fish production is seen in this kind of fish production, that is aquaponics. That is about in few cases, to the least you can see up to 5 times greater fish production compared to the traditional system of aquaculture. So compared to aquaculture, having aquaponics, you are able to produce at least 5 times, and which can be about 30 to 75% increase in fish production. So as talking about benefits of aquaponics, you are going to have a higher quality production of fish, where you're going to have a less wastages, and natural fertilizer is going to be reduced, and plants in turn clean the water for the fishes, and natural cycle going to result in a healthy and favorable produce of the plants. We're going to have a healthy fishes. You're not going to have pollutants going to be having. It's been traced that even fish mussels and gills and livers all has plastics, wherein by doing this you're going to reduce you're going to eliminate, for that matter, you're going to eliminate the pollution from these fishes and plants that you're going to consume. And reducing water usage is going to be happening because of aquaponics system, where you're going to have about 70 to 90% less of water is going to be used compared to the conventional system of aquaculture. And water in the system is recirculated, wherein by you are minimizing the waste as well as maximizing the resource of water. And minimal environmental impact is going to happen by reducing water usage, waste, and reliance on the synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. You don't need to have much of pesticides is going to be controlled. You're not going to have weeds, so weedicide is not going to be used. So there is going to be much of environmental being controlled. It is going to be under controlled environment you're going to grow. So you're going to have a really high and high quality healthy plants and animals in the system. And potentially for urban and rural adaptation is happening, though it is being slowly getting into our system. But this is one thing that is, when you make it as a large scale commercial production, then you are tend to start using, and this is being a very nutritive value, so anyone can definitely adopt about it. And talking about aquaponics being one of the market dynamics, yes, it's been included in some of the menus, restaurant menus nowadays, where people seeking for having those people who are conscious about the nutrient value, health, and all those things are trying to get towards this aquaponically grown plants and animals. And grocery stores and markets, aquaponics produced items are increasingly available nowadays in some of the groceries and farmer markets. And customers who are prioritizing the qualities, freshness, and sustainability are turning towards these aquaponically grown products. And local food initiatives where aquaponic systems is being or can be integrated into community gardens, schools, or colleges, wherever the local community can be engaged together. This kind of activity will help us both having a good community interaction as well as having a good quality food available for the local population. And educational institute and hospitals nowadays, colleges, schools, and hospitals are adopting aquaponics to provide students as well as patients for with a fresh nutritive food system, as well as educate them for having sustainable aquaculture in going back to their home. So specific markets are being initiated nowadays, which are exclusively for aquaponically grown plants and animals. So this is being one of the initiative. And aquaponic market also have some key drivers like growing consumer demanded plants. Consumers are increasingly interested in local source like organic and sustainable food. And this being aquaponics is able to produce such thing. And they, if you are able to produce a large quantity of this, people will get into this. And health and wellness, aquaponically grown fishes and vegetables are often perceived as healthier and more nutritious compared to other things, those who have health conscious conditions. And sustainable conditions, so talking about sustainability concerns, environmental benefits of aquaponics, such like where you have a reduced water usage, waste is going to be reduced, and you're going to make it more attractive, where it is going to have healthier values. I mean, nutritive value is going to be high. So that gives a lot of value for this such kind of products. And urbanization and food security. Here, there is urban gardens, rooftop gardens, and other things are coming up where people are able to produce their own aquaponically grown plants and animals on the rooftops. So there, people are getting awareness, having their own culture system too. So this is one good initiative. Apart from this, there is one technological advancement that we are looking at, where improved aquaponic technology for making systems more efficient, where I'll talk about how this is technology is going to be incorporated in this kind of aquaponics and aquaculture, where before that, to tell about the market value of this aquaponically grown plants and animals, if you see from 2020 to 2030, there is a prediction there is going to be a triple demand or 3 times demand of what we have, as well as production and income is going to be happening. So we can think about it. One thing that I would like to enhance about or talk about is challenges that we face in aquaponics. Though we say this is aquaponics is so easy and we can produce so much and all that, there are some limitations through which many of them are not able to get into this. One thing what I'm talking about, though it is giving a promising produce, we have several hurdles that we talk about. One is mineral imbalance, which needs to be optimized very frequently with a proper system, economic viability, and the need for specific technological knowledge or technical knowledge that you need to have it. Because without a technical knowledge, if you are trying to get into the system, there is a high chance that many of them get out of aquaponics just because their lack of proper knowledge about it, because there is going to produce is going to failure. So this one thing is most important, having a proper knowledge about this technique, how to use it, and balancing the nutritive availability for the plants to uptake and monitoring them very frequently is most important. Though we say occasionally if you check it is enough, but I would recommend to have a frequent check of the nutrients, because it is also be a concern to animals that you're going to grow. And to improve a proper efficiency, you have to have an optimization of your system or design. While economic considerations like initial costs and ongoing expenses can be a barrier if you are doing a small level. When you talk about a big higher level or large level of production, then you might not feel the pinch. But when you're doing it small level of production, you might feel that being one of the major barrier. And final one thing that we need to understand is deep understanding of water chemistry, plants and fish biology, or animal biology for that matter, and system of maintenance is most essential for success. But there is a help for all this. That is, we're going to have some system that I'll tell you. When considering this economic and practical factors, evaluating cost, setup, maintenance, and market demands, consumer acceptance, ensuring this all this setting up crucial. This aspect influences profitability and consumer interest and availability to adopt different environment. But there is something called IoT, Internet of Knowledge of this, where you're going to use some of the real-time information to have this hurdles to be eased out. That is, advanced technology for aquaponics is being integrated for monitoring either nutrients, disease predictions, or everything that comes up, everything that becomes a hurdle in having such system. One is real-time data collection. IoT sensors that is gonna collect all the real-time parameter data like say water quality, starting from pH, nitrates, carbons, everything is going to be monitored, including dissolved oxygens, and also plant growth in relations to the nutrient availability and fish health. So real-time data will be collected by IoT sensors, and data will be remotely monitored, can also be monitored and analyzed. Data is transmitted wirelessly, and that is being able to easily available for your mobile aspect apps as well as website or in a laptop. And early detection can be done by this. IoT sensors can detect potential problems with respect to nutrient imbalance, water quality issues, disease that can outbreak, or where you need to intervene in between these kind of limitations. So by doing this, you are able to improve the water quality management, because IoT sensors help to monitor, not only monitor them, there are parameters that can be remotely operated to balance it. So a system using pH temperature sensors with the data transmission to a web dashboard allows a remote monitoring of the aquatic system. So one thing I earlier talked about, where you are reducing the energy wastages. So using a renewable resource system when you're doing a large production or a very higher scale of production, renewable energy like solar energy and power energy can be used in reducing the electricity wastages, or not, I wouldn't say wastage, but the consumption of electricity can be reduced by adopting this kind of renewable energy sources. This is one key help for you to come over all those hurdles or talked about, having about imbalance, nutrient cycle, or disease, or say health of the fish, health of the plants, everything. This automated data analyst, this is one thing that's going to help us to monitor as well as to take action, timely action, to save our produce. So automated system can be dispensed, where feed based on preset, there's going to be preset automated system which should be scheduled and monitored, where you, if at all remotely, you can monitor. If at all your system is at home and you're like outstation, so you can use a remote system or mobile system to timely release the nutrient required for the plants into the water system, which will be most optimal for the conditions of the fish as well as plants. So data analysis for optimization. So data analysis helps to identify the trends and optimize when, where, how much required to be released, how much is the nutrient that needs to be released into the water. So nutrient water is what is going to be helping in this. So that can be remotely controlled through your mobile. So a system that automatically adjusts the nutrient level in the water based on real-time data that has been collected by the sensors, and demonstrating the use of data analysis for optimization is most important for you to have a proper or the exponential produce that I talked about. So examples of technique enhanced system or tech enhanced systems that we talk about is smart system, where this system integrates IoT sensors, automation, and data analysis to monitor and control various aspects of aquaponics. AI-driven aquaponics is that has come up now. So AI-driven aquaponics can analyze data from the sensors and make predictions by themselves and adopt system for proper performance and optimizing the resources used and maximizing the yield. modular or aquaponic system, this system is designed where scalable, consumable, allowing for easy adaptation to different environmental needs and conditions. So urban aquaponic system, where aquaponic system can be integrated into urban environment, providing sustainable source for food, promoting and having a green infrastructure. One that we talk about future of this aquaponics is we need to address the economic barriers that we talk about and improving system designs, because many of them don't know how, what, when to be done. And we are going to also enhancing the consumer acceptance, because though I talked about, I mean, many places it's been accepted, it's not widely accepted. So there is need of enhanced consumer acceptance for this. And there is need of interdisciplinary research as well, because right now 99% of people produce only fishes through this. There is a varied varieties of animals that can be produced through this type of integration. So there is need to be a research regarding this. And to talk about as a conclusion, aquaponics is going to minimize water wastage, eliminate the need of synthetic fertilizers, and produce both fish and plants in a closed loop, and which is going to contribute for sustainable food production. And by recycling water, the nutrient aquaponics significantly reduces water and fertilizers use compared to conventional system, where aquaponics minimizes waste discharge, reduce the environmental impact associated with the traditional farming system. And further, as a continued research, this needs to be done to have a much efficient and fully reliable kind of system for your future. So thank you. If you have anything to ask, please do.